Thank you for watching me on YouTube. As always, I present myself as an honest, unapologetic voice out there for those who are willing to listen. I usually talk about issues facing my community, the government, and of course the corrupt mainstream media. Clearly, the Republican Party is in trouble. With a weak presidential field, the Republicans have no serious contender against President Barack Obama. I'm going to give you my honest opinion about the Republican Party and its allies in the conservative movement. The Republican Party and its allies in the conservative movement are wrapping their asses around the American flag in preparedness of a culture war. This culture war has an enemy. The enemy is the middle class, the low incomes, minorities, the gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender community, those who practice in Islam, and those who support President Obama. The Republican Party made it clear that no matter what it takes, their number one goal is to defeat President Barack Obama. The Republican Party right now is looking for the right candidate to run against President Barack Obama, and they found it in GOP frontrunner Herman Cain. Herman Cain is a former business executive from the National Restaurant Association, Godfather's Pizza, Burger King, and Pillsbury. He is one of the serious black candidates I've seen so far. Once considered a second tier, I guess his 999 plan has won over some of the Republicans who are scared of Mitt Romney, being Mitt Romney a moderate and Rick Perry being too far out of the mainstream.
As this day began, he came under fire facing news reports about allegations of sexual harassment in his past. As the day ends, he's been challenging the press, singing a hymn, and swinging back.
I really know what it feels like to be number one.
The allegation, first published by Politico, is that he sexually harassed two women back in the 1990s when he was the head of the National Restaurant Association. The few specifics include conversations filled with innuendo, and that he asked questions of a sexually suggestive nature, and that he invited one of the women to his hotel suite. Speaking at the National Press Club, Cain called it all a witch hunt.
I have never sexually harassed anyone.
He said that he had been falsely accused and that an internal investigation cleared him of wrongdoing.
I am unaware of any sort of settlement. I hope it wasn't for much, because I didn't do anything.
But in an interview to air tonight on Fox News with Greta Van Susteren, Cain said there was a settlement of about 3 months' salary.
I was standing close to her, and I made a gesture. You have the same height as my wife, and brought my hand, didn't touch her, up to my chin and said, you're the same height as my wife, because my wife comes up to my chin. My wife for 43 years. And that was put in there as something that made her uncomfortable, as part of the sexual harassment charge.
In Washington today, Cain seemed to be taking it all in stride, closing out an appearance at the National Press Club with a little gospel singing.
I'll never know why Jesus came to love me so.
Step back, Are you accused of harassment? This is last one, guys.
Last question.
Sir, have you? Yes or no, sir? Have you ever been accused, sir?
I'm trying to...
Sexual harassment. Have you? Have you, sir?
That was the last question.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Answer yes or no.
Thanks. Last question.
Have you ever been accused of sexual harassment? If the Restaurant Association did a settlement, I wasn't even aware of it, and I hope it wasn't for much, because nothing happened. So if there was a settlement, it was handled by some of the other officers that worked for me at the association. So the answer is absolutely not.
And with this scandal that is embroiled around him, where 2 or 3 women have come forward saying that he had once sexual harassed them when he was then president of the National Restaurant Association, Herman Cain is playing the race card, and he's blaming the Democratic Party, President Barack Obama, and the so-called liberal media. Unaware of the 2 other frontrunners, former Massachusetts Governor Mitt Romney and Texas Governor Rick Perry, trying to vie for the Republican nomination, Herman Cain is ignoring the fact that it's an all-out war within the Republican Party for the Republican nomination. Mitt Romney and Rick Perry have money, and they have opposition research on every candidate. You wonder why Rick Perry is upset about Herman Cain speaking out against him for the niggerhead controversy, in which there was a rock in Texas where Rick Perry happened to just ignore it. I get tired of conservatives always claiming that the black community is playing the race card. I get really, really frustrated with the income gap between non-whites and whites getting more separated. There's white supremacist websites out there making fun of African Americans, Hispanic Americans, and those who are Muslim. There is plenty of opposition towards President Obama solely based on his race. And of course, those who flock to my page to compare Martin Luther King to the modern Republican Party. The point of my videos is not to just criticize the conservatives and the Republican Party, but you, the viewer in general, those who share this bigoted view of Americans with issues that involve race, gender, sexuality, nationality, religion, political, and economic standings. Herman Cain is the GOP frontrunner, and it's going to take a lot of rocks to knock this sucker off his post. This sexual harassment scandal will pick up steam if the women do come forward to testify that they were victims of sexual harassment in an appropriate manner by Herman Cain. Right now, you see that most of the Republican field is weak. No one wants Rick Perry, no one wants Mitt Romney, no one wants Herman Cain, no one wants Newt Gingrich, no one wants Michelle Bachmann, no one wants Rick Santorum, no one wants Ron Paul, and no one wants John Huntsman. When we elected the Republican Party to take back the House of Representatives and the state governorships, the Republicans promised to bring jobs back to America. Instead, they wasted most of their first session trying to stop the culture war. Clearly, the Republican Party is out of luck. With job approvals hovering in the low digits, it's a shame that we as Americans have to vote these clowns out.